Right, we get started. Right, I was saying the information is material non-public. All right, but the reliability is questionable. Okay, so if the reliability is questionable, that means the information is not really material in the sense of the word. The nature is, the nature is material, but it is not really material because the reliability is questionable. All right, you get the point? Okay, so the information is generally considered material and non-public, but the source of the information is unreliable. Okay, so the information cannot be considered material. Okay. Right, so therefore, Leah is not prohibited from trading on the stock on the basis of this information and would not be violating, right, the standard if she did so. Okay, I hope that's clear. Right, now I will talk about 2B, market manipulation. Right, market manipulation. Right, right. So basically, you must not engage in practices that distort prices. Right, you're trying to distort prices or artificially inflate the trading volume. Right, right. Artificially inflate the trading volume. Okay, this is what is market manipulation. You're dealing with the prices and the trading volume. These two parts. Okay. Right, so what's intention is to mislead the market participants, right? That is market manipulation. Okay, so these sort of practices, must be avoided at all costs, right? And standard 2B attempts to uphold market integrity by prohibiting, right, market manipulation. Right, so basically market manipulation, right, as I said, is any practices, right, that distort the prices, right, distort the security prices or trading volume. Okay, right, with the intent to deceive people or entities that rely on information in the market, right? Yeah, you're using information, right? False information. Okay, so market manipulation definitely will damage investor confidence, right? And right, so what we're trying to say here is that although it may be less likely to occur in more mature financial markets, right? If the financial market is mature, that means there'll be a lot of regulations, right? So if there's a lot of regulations, if regulations are very strict, right, it's less likely to occur, right? And then from an American perspective, right, so if it's cross-border, that means other countries, right? What the implication of this second part of the statement is that cross-border investing, right, that means it's outside the US, right? The US market is considered to be very tight, very strict. So it's supposed to have less opportunities for market manipulation. But if it's cross-border, say across into Mexico or Latin America or Africa, I mean the regulations are less stringent, right? So if it's less stringent, that means cross-border investing increasingly expose all global investors to such potential for such practices. That means market manipulation. Okay, and on the other hand, right? Yeah, I mean, technologies are more advanced now, right? So and then you also have new products, right? New derivatives, financial derivatives, new products, and these products are very complex. Okay, and not many investors understand these new products, these derivatives. Okay, and also these technologies, used to trade are also very complicated, right? So not many people understand all these new products and new technologies, right? So because of this, right, there's a lot of incentive. This will enhance the incentives and means and opportunities for market manipulation, right? So there's more opportunities for market manipulations because of these new products and new technologies. Okay. Right. So market manipulation, basically there's two types. One is transaction based and one is information based. Right. So you either do a lot of forward trading, right? This is forward trading, right? To give the impression that a stock is actively traded, right? And the intention is to jack up the price. The other is to use information, is to feed information into the market, to mislead, right? So basically there's two types, all right? Right, transaction based, okay? So false trading, right? Deceive market participants by distorting the price setting mechanism of financial instruments, right? So, I mean, this price setting, right, is determined by demand and supply. Okay, so you basically try to distort the demand and supply, right, to influence the price. Okay, right. So this practice includes but not limited to, right, transactions that artificially distort prices, right, or volume, right, to give the impression of activity or price movement. Okay, so this is all fake. Or you can secure a controlling dominant position in a financial instrument to exploit and manipulate the price, right? So the key issue is about securing a controlling and dominant position. That means you buy enough volume, right, to control the share price. Okay, so basically the issue is to manipulate, exploit, and manipulate the price, right? Say, of a related derivative or the underlying asset itself. Okay, so the price of the underlying asset or a related derivative. There could be a few related derivatives, right? So you can see the opportunities for transaction-based manipulation. Right. Okay, now just to be clear, right? This standard, you know, is not meant to prohibit legitimate trading strategies that exploit the difference in market power, information, or other market inefficiencies. Like arbitrage. Arbitrage. There could be a slight discrepancy in the price, and you actually exploit this temporary uh, opportunity for market arbitrage. All right. I mean, it could be due to market inefficiencies. All right. So the difference in the price. So you just, exploit the difference in the price. But, these are legitimate. You're not trying to manipulate. There's no manipulation. Okay. Right. So, why? For example, right? Okay. Now, some orders are legitimate, right? These orders, they're legitimate because some securities or some financial instruments, right, could be thinly traded. Thinly traded, that means not very frequently traded, and the volume is not substantial. Okay, right? So suddenly you have some legitimate orders coming in. It's legitimate. I mean, they're not trying to manipulate. Okay, but maybe some people see some prospects in the security and they place some legitimate orders in, right? So, but sometimes these legitimate orders can be quite substantial, right? And these could overwhelm this liquidity for that security, right? And then the price will go up, whatever, right? But this is legitimate, right? And obviously, this is different from efforts to artificially affect the price of the security at the close of trading. All right. So, all right. So, I mean, you have to distinguish, right? That's and you have to know that some of the orders are indeed legitimate. All right. They are not intentionally out to manipulate the market. Right. The next kind is information based manipulation. So it's based on information. So basically, you try to dissemination of false or misleading info. Okay, so it's information based manipulation. Okay, so you use generate false rumors, right, to induce trading, either to buy or sell. All right, the news, these rumors can be positive or negative. Right. So I mean, usually it's positive, right? So it's pump and dump, right? This kind of strategy, you pump up the price, issuing misleading for positive information, right? It's positive, you pump up the price, right? Or you try to disseminate overtly, right? Overtly optimistic projections, right? Right. This is basically over the top, exaggerated, right? Exaggerated optimistic projections of securities worth, right? And then you pump up. First you pump up, then you dump. Pump and dump, right? You pump and dump, right? And that means to sell later. Okay. I mean, you pump it up to an artificially high level. It's artificial. Then later you dump it. Okay. Right. So this pump and dump is fueled by false or misleading info. Okay. Now we talk about some cases, right, on 2B market manipulation. Right, we look at case one. Right, case one, the issue here is information-based manipulation, right, using purportedly, supposedly independent analysis and company information, right? Right, so this principal owner of FIS entered into an agreement with two micro-cap companies, right? Right, micro-cap, that means small cap. Okay, small capitalization companies to promote the two company stock in exchange for stock and cash compensation. Right, the principal owner caused FIS to disseminate emails, design and maintain several internet websites, and distribute an online investment newsletter, all of which recommended investment in two companies. So the news are all positive, right? So it's all recommended investment, so positive. So the systematic publication of purportedly independent, right? So here the keyword is purportedly, seemingly independent, right? Analysis and recommendations, right? Right, containing, right, inaccurate and highly promotional and speculative statements, right? Okay, so due to all this, right, it increased public investment in the two companies and led to dramatically higher stock prices, right? So this information is inaccurate, all this information here, okay, and misleading, right? Under the guise of, change the color, right? Under the guise of purportedly independent, right? Analysis and recommendations, right? Purportedly independent analysis and recommendations. The purpose is to jack up the share price, okay? Higher stock price, to inflate, artificially inflate the stock price, okay? So it's a very clear-cut case of information-based manipulation, right? Information-based manipulation using purportedly independent analysis and company information. All right. Okay. So is inaccurate reporting, misleading information, right? So under the guise of independent analysis. All right. So now this is just a something a side note, right? Also violated other standards, right? 5A and 6A, right? Why? Because he's just using. I mean, you can. It's very clear, right? 5A is about diligence and reasonable basis, right? There's no reasonable and adequate basis for recommending it to companies. Okay, and the other is also, the compensation agreements here, right? And this will be a conflict of interest. Okay, now I go back to the previous slide. Right, this is the compensation part. In exchange for stock and cash compensation. All right, because they didn't. So this is conflict of interest here, right? And 6A is about disclosure of conflicts, right? And basically, you have violated this standard by not disclosing to investors the compensation agreement. All right, these compensation agreements here. Okay. Right. Case 2. Right. Case 2. Right. So transaction based, right? Manipulation using false personal trading practices to distort the price. So an employee of a broker-dealer acquired a significant ownership interest in several publicly traded microcap stocks and held that stock in various brokerage accounts in which the broker-dealer had a controlling interest. The employee orchestrated the manipulation of the stock price by artificially increasing the bid price for the stock through transactions among the various accounts, right? So now through transactions among the various accounts. So this is fake, right? Okay, so just doing the transactions for nothing, right? So if the transactions has got substantial volume, right, the stock price can be artificially increased, right? The bid price is the buying price, right? Because you try to jack up the transactions, the volume. Okay, so this is how the employee orchestrated the manipulation of the stock price here. Okay, so transaction based. All right, so this is clear cut. All right, so this employee has basically violated this standard. Okay, right, because basically this employee has distorted the price. Okay, using transaction-based manipulation and all these false trading practices. Okay. Right, the next case, right? Next case, 3, right, is about also transaction-based manipulation using false personal trading practices to distort price, right, and volume. Right, Seca. manages two funds, an equity fund and a balanced fund, whose components are supposed to be managed following the same model. Okay, according to that model, the fund's holdings in stock CD are excessive. Okay, reduction of CD holdings would not be easy because the stock has low liquidity in the stock market. So that means you try to sell, reduce the holding is not easy because the stock has low liquidity. Now, if a stock has low liquidity, that means nobody wants it, right? So if nobody wants a stock, it's difficult for you to sell it, right? So this is what is meant by reduction of CD holding. If you try to sell it, it's not easy because the stock is difficult to sell because it has low liquidity. Okay, hope that's clear. SECA decides to start trading large portions of CD stock back and forth, right? And you can see it's trading larger portions of CD stock back and forth, to and fro, right? To and fro, back and forth. That means it's fake between these two funds to slowly increase the price, believing that market participants would see the growing volume, wow, and increasing price, and become interested in the stock, right? Because that means he's trying to increase the liquidity. All right. So if other investors are willing to buy the CD stock because of such interest, okay, then SECA will be able to get rid of at least some part of his overweight position, right? He's trying to get rid of it, right? Overweight, that means it's too much of the stock, too much, all right, without inducing price decreases, right? You try to sell something which nobody wants, you don't have to lower your price to sell it. This is what it's meant here, right? You don't have to lower your price to sell something which nobody wants, right? So the whole transaction will be for the benefit of fund participants, right? Even if additional broker commissions are incurred, right? Now, these additional broker commissions are incurred because of all this training, right? This fake trading, you go in and out, in and out, in and out, you incur broker commissions, right? So yeah, I mean, fund participants will benefit, but they will also lose because they have to pay more additional broker commissions. Okay, I hope you understand what I'm saying here. Right, so here, SECA's plan will be beneficial for its fund participants, right? It will be beneficial, even if additional broker commissions are incurred, all right? Good point. So however, right, it is based on transaction-based manipulation, using false personal trading practices to distort, right, both the price and the volume of the stock. Okay, so this is clear-cut transaction-based manipulation, right? And so this action constitute a violation of 2B. I hope that's clear. If it's not clear, please raise your hand. Right, so case 4. Right, so this case is about information-based manipulation using the pump and dump strategy. All right, to artificially increase the price and then sell it. Right, you pump it up and then you sell it. Okay, so in an effort to pump up the price of his holdings in the Belfast Railroad Company, Steve logs on to several investor chat rooms on the internet to start rumors that the company is about to expand its rail network in anticipation of receiving a large contract for shipping lumber. Okay, so it's a transport company. Right, so so this is very clear, right? It's information based, and it's pump and dump, So basically, he has violated this standard, right? Because the information is false, right? And the intention is to mislead the market participants. right? So these are the key points you must be able to express, in those in your midterm. All right. I'll give you small cases, and these are the points, and especially if the case deals with this particular standard. Right. So this is lecture 4. Right. So I think it's better if I start another video for lecture 5. Okay, because the video size won't be too big, so it's better if we have smaller videos. Okay, so I will end this video and I'll start another video for lecture 5.